Ja, und willkommen zurück zu Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair. Selbst wenn ich könnte die letzte Folge nicht zusammenfassen. Das ist ein bisschen zu verwirrend. Aber gut, machen wir weiter.
Does that mean you have a rebuttal?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line.
Yes, danke.
But are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed, you know.
Meine Reaktion. Eindeutig meine Reaktion.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status.
Frightened ist nicht das richtige Wort. Das ist mehr confused.
However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest.
Okay. Rebuttal Showdown.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor. You can't step on blood that was never there. Just about 1 minute. Did you see a nice nightmare?
With Fletcher's extricated protest, I feel like I've already seen an opening counter. Is this a trap?
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet. Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood. You can't step on blood that was never there. Just did you see a nice nightmare? You're saying the blood on Ibuki's... Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor.
Allow me to cut through those words.
Genau.
That's not it. The reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away afterward.
Don't say such foolish things. You don't have proof of that at all.
Oh.
Yes, I do.
Ja.
If you look closely, there's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped away.
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize it.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right?
Genau.
Even if they're able to hide Hyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Eben.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding. Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating, so I don't think they had to go that far. Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.
Ja. Gut, dann wissen wir ja schon mal, dass es Mika nicht ist.
Maybe the heater was running inside the music venue so it would screw with Mikon's autopsy?
That's right! I didn't know the time of death because of the heater!
Ha? Also, Ichi, das war schlau. Bin überrascht.
If the time of death wasn't mentioned in the Monokuma file just to keep concrete evidence from us.
Yep. Since we have all this evidence, there's no one else who wants to object, right? Then it's decided. Hyoko was killed before Ibuki.
Jo.
Appears that it is wiser to retreat for now. Fine then, but regardless of good or evil, there's no deceit in upholding one's convictions.
Can't you just shut up and back off?
Ey, Kazuichi, lass Gantem in
Now
Ruhe.
then, let us resume our debate.
Genau.
Wait a sec. There's something I want to run by Monokuma first.
Okay.
Huh? Again? Didn't something like this happen last time too?
Hey, if the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed to do?
Hä? Suicide?
The same as always. You have to vote for who the killer is.
Weil da es ja nicht zwei Selbstmorde sein können, gibt's definitiv einen Mörder.
Think about it. A suicide means you've killed the most important existence of all, yourself.
Und das kommt auch noch dazu.
Unfortunately, that means there's no Blacken to punish, but I guess in a pinch, I can always punish Monami.
Genau.
Why me?
Ja, du nervst.
Nagito? What do you mean? If the victim actually committed suicide?
Well, I mean, I understand Hyoko's death, but I'm wondering if Ibuki was really murdered. For example, it's possible Ibuki killed Hyoko, and then committed suicide due to a guilty conscience, right?
Ja, so an sich klingt das schlau. Das Problem ist, die hat ja das Disease. Die war nicht in der Lage, einen Mord zu machen. Da ja bei ihr die Auswirkung des Disease war, dass sie alles macht, was andere sagen. So. Da kommen wir dann wieder in die Fuyuhiko Peko-Situation. Wer ist dann der eigentliche Mörder? Die Person, die sie gesagt hat, sie soll Yoko und sich selbst umbringen, oder Buki halt dann. So, ne, da kommen wir halt in diese Problem wieder rein.
That's totally impossible. Then she never would have killed her to begin with.
She was afflicted by the despair disease, remember? That means anything can happen.
Ja. Aber wie gesagt, da muss jemand ja trotzdem gesagt haben, dass sie Yoko umbringen soll.
But if Ibuki's the killer, she wouldn't have been able to falsify the sequence of the murders, right? After Hajime saw the hanged body, the sudden appearance of Hyoko's body soon after means...
Gut, und das ist auch noch ein sehr gutes Argument, denn, Ibuki kann ja gar nicht den Körper von Hyoko freilegen. Sie tot ist.
The killer had to be alive at that time.
Then she was alive.
Das ist möglich.
When Hajime first discovered Ibuki, she was just pretending to be dead. If she waited until Hajime left, that's when she could have made her move and mess with the crime scene.
Und wie sollte sie sich dann umgebracht haben?
She hanged herself. Remember? There's no fucking way she could have faked that.
And if she was going to fake her death, I think she wouldn't have chosen hanging.
Genau.
Her body would have been defenseless in that state. If anyone touched her, that alone would have ruined her plan.
I see. So that means...
Buki wurde nicht, war nicht am Leben. Sie war tot.
There's no doubt that someone killed those two. I'm glad. Now I'm free to search for the killer.
Was ist das Forschen, Nagito? Ja, meine Vermutung lässt halt nicht locker, dass es Nagito war.
What the heck?
There's still one more issue on my mind.
Ja.
If Ibuki didn't commit suicide, then just what was that video Hajime saw?
Hä?
According to that video you saw, Ibuki was by herself when she climbed the stepladder, right?
Mhm, ja.
Then does that mean someone forced her to do it?
Ja.
Forced? Perhaps they used hypnotism or something?
Nein, die Despair Disease. Habe ich nicht gerade gesagt, was die Anzeigen des Despair Disease bei ihr war? Mein Gott, hört ihr mir nicht zu?
I don't know anything about that.
Don't say it all proud.
Putting that aside, it seems obvious that the killer did something.
Hallo, Despair Disease.
So, maybe we should figure out who was able to do whatever that was.
Rare disease.
So, an alibi. Then our plan is to destroy the weakest alibi. Since Hajime has seen the video, it is clear what time the crime took place.
Ja.
But just to be sure, that surveillance camera doesn't have a record function, right?
It's a cheap-ass surveillance camera, you know? There's no way it'd have some kind of sweet recording feature.
Then, the video Hajime saw was actually live?
What time did Hajime see that video?
I saw it at the hospital, right before Monokuma's morning announcement.
Ich weiß, worauf Chiaki hinaus wollte.
And I saw the body at the music venue a little after Monokuma's announcement.
Ja.
So Ibuki hanged herself right before Monokuma's announcement. And since we established that Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki, that means the time that the murders occurred was before and during the announcement.
Then, we just have to find the person who doesn't have an alibi during that time? Now then, I shall issue my decree. Let Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi commence.
Okay, Sonja, raste aus.
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed.
The murder supposedly happened before and during the morning announcement. The person who doesn't have an alibi for the time.
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping.
I think everyone.
So everyone who stayed. What about you guys? I was where I was supposed.
That's not.
Aside from those, if nobody, Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed.
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
Verdammt. The person from another committed this crime, we both had the spear disease. Everyone already understands that, right? Ist das jetzt nicht unmöglich? Ich find's nur unmöglich bei Ibuki. Du hast nur gelogen.
Crap! We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane.
Nochmal, danke. Maker right up until Monokuma announcement that Moneymaker was with Hajime the whole time. Afterwards, she went to the hospital to check on everyone and realized that Ibuki had disappeared. When she rushed out of the hospital, she apparently met up with Fuyuhiko. After viewing in front of her, they split up to search for Ibuki to check the movie theater and missing. Didn't find anyone. Apparently, for hours separate for a short time. Yoko was distraught because
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then
No, that's wrong.
so. Aha. Ich kann doch noch etwas.
Hold on. Not all of us are missing an alibi. In fact, Mikan and I both have alibis.
you two have alibis?
Ja.
Up until I saw that hanging video, Mikon and I were actually together for a while.
Genau. Aber hier machen wir auch in der nächsten Folge weiter. Ich bedanke mich fürs Zusehen, sage Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal und auf Wiedersehen.